Hello, everybody. Welcome to the HuddleCamHD Let's Chat Live. Today, we are bringing Thomas Schultz from ICRON Technologies to talk about USB 1, USB 2, and USB 3.0 extension. Very excited for this show today. All this and more is going to come up next, so hang on, and we'll get into this awesome webinar.
Welcome to Let's Chat Live, presented by HuddleCamHD. Broadcasting live every Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific and 12 p.m. Eastern on Facebook and YouTube. Tune in weekly as we uncover the convergence of AV and IT. Your front seat to industry professional interviews in the exciting video conferencing and video collaboration space. Let's get started.
All right, here I am with Thomas Schultz, the business manager of Icron. Today, I want to let everybody know that we are giving away an Icron Raven. That's right. Go to huddlecamhd.com/giveaway for your chance to win. This is over $1,000 value. We're going to dig into what this product can do for you and your clients in just a moment, so stick around. We're going to talk about USB extension, not just USB 3, which is one that has been making a lot of us tear our hair out because of the extension limitations, but USB 1 and USB 2. So we'll talk a little bit about the Icron Spectra today as well. And then finally, Thomas Schultz, the business manager, the man, the myth, the legend. He's here today. You can see he has a whiteboard full of crazy engineering notes. He makes a lot of these products come to life. How are you doing today, Tom?
Pretty good, Paul. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. And Tom and I have worked together quite a bit. Tom has some new application diagrams he's going to show with us, and I am probably going to get in trouble for this, but there's a new HuddleCam camera control app that works over USB that I wanted to show, and no one has ever seen this. And I want to show it because it does really play into USB extension and what USB can do for video conferencing, collaboration, technology. What type of customers and applications are you seeing out there, Tom?
It's a pretty wide range. It's anyone from your home user who wants to do his little kind of setup to talk to the grandparents online, or if it's a full-fledged boardroom, anywhere from like 6 to 24 people. It's crazy.
Wow. So it really is a large world. And USB, what does USB stand for?
Universal Serial Bus.
Yes, Universal Serial Bus, and it's being used for everything from controlling a PTZ camera to transporting high-definition video. What can you do with, let's just talk briefly before we jump into our presentation. What is the difference between USB 1.0, 2.0, and 3.0? Let's just start there.
Sure. So USB 1.0 is like the oldest and most basic form. Typically, you're looking at just kind of basic touch devices, keyboards, mice for that kind of support. Some audio stuff if you're not doing too crazy. Just a basic microphone stereo setup is usually good enough for 1.1. 2.0 is, I guess, where Icron's name really came into play for extension at least. So 2.0, you got your kind of your 1080p 30 webcams with a bit of compression. You got your high definition audio. You got some USB to video applications, stuff like that. And then USB 3 is the new one, obviously, that's kind of surging in the market right now. It's standard on most computers that you'll ship today, you'll see shipping. And then from there, you got your really good webcams, like 1080p 60, higher 4K, stuff like that. Great audio support, 5K video support through USB 3 interfaces, gigabit Ethernet, all kinds of stuff. Yeah, that's kind of basically the device breakdown. 1.1 is like 12 megabits per second in terms of bandwidth. USB 2 is 480. And then USB 3, we do a 5 gig support. So.
Cool. Well, that's a great overview. We're really going to dig into this technology. If you've ever had a USB extension issue, I know I have. This is going to be a webinar that you want to pay attention to, but we're going to bring it to you quick. So let's jump into it and let's get you some useful information.
For sure.
Let me pull up my presentation now. Here we go. All right. So we're going to start by talking about what you guys might win today. Again, there's still time to get into this, huddlecamhd.com/giveaway. Let's talk about this Raven. It's the 3104 extender system. It has 4 auto-negotiating USB 3 to 1 ports. What does that mean, auto-negotiating?
So a lot of extender systems out there right now, especially on the Threado space or capable of that kind of support, will have like a dedicated port for USB 3, a dedicated port for USB 1, and a dedicated support for USB 2, with like the ports only support one speed. So the great thing about our solution is it's just like you would expect on a USB port. You connect any device to it, and it's going to automatically lock into the highest speed possible on the device.
Wonderful.
So that's what that means. Yeah.
Cool. And by the way, everyone watching today, we are looking in the chat room. Tess is actually producing this show today, so she's pulling up your comments. If you have questions, ask them now. You've got Thomas here, and he knows a lot about this stuff. So I see it supports up to 100 meters over Cat6a/7. If we're talking about USB extension, how does category cable come into play? And I know I've heard of Cat5, Cat5e, Cat6, Cat7. Can we talk about the differences there?
So with category cable, there's a couple of grades, right? So Cat5e is kind of the industry basic at this point, cable supporting 1 gigabit per second throughputs. And then you've got what we need to support USB 3 is Cat6a, which supports up to 10 gigabits per second of throughput. And Cat7, again, is just a beefier cable on top of that, capable of supporting a higher speed. Again, each cable grade, it comes with additional cost. So if you can get away with Cat5e, then use that if you want a cheaper solution. But for this product, I recommend Cat6a. In terms of extension, obviously USB 3 only goes 3 meters by spec. To get it to go over 100 meters, we can do a protocol conversion, get it to go over Cat6a, and then in there's where you get your 100 meter extension from.
Gotcha. And you're actually passing through, is that a gigabit of Ethernet side channel? And how are people using that?
Exactly. So there is a 1 gigabit Ethernet side channel, and the way people are leveraging that is in situations where you've got one side of the extension solution in a like server room, for example, and you've got existing infrastructure category cable going out to your boardroom or meeting room, and you don't want to run another wire because that'd be expensive and painful. So what you can do is just plug in the internet access through our extender, and then run that through the same cable with the USB 3, 2, and 1 back to the room without blocking the network access. And the other way to do it is a lot of PTZ cameras out there we find have Ethernet connectivity for their pan tilt zoom functionality and settings and stuff like that. So this allows you to simultaneously connect the USB 3 to the camera as well as the control path.
Wow,
with one cable.
That is incredible. I mean, just think about the capabilities there. Everyone is running additional Ethernet cables to their conference spaces, their meeting spaces. They don't even know what they might be using it for, but they're at least running 2 or 3. And potentially, let's say they're running it for a computer, and they're not even thinking about USB right now. And then they can throw this in line with that extender that's already there and extend the USB. That's awesome. Exactly. And it could be used for KVM, all kinds of different things. Hi, Carol Walker. Don't forget to say hi, everybody, if you're out there in the chat. And again, we are answering questions. So here's the brand new HuddleCamHD PTZ camera control app. I just very, very quickly wanted to show because I think this is a great use case. I've actually got the app right here. And what a lot of people don't realize is that you can actually control pan tilt zoom cameras over USB. And Tess, if you cut to my main cam, I can actually show it working here. I've got it set up. So you can see I've got this camera right in front of me here. Here we go, this one. I've got the camera pan tilting and zooming right there. And this is just over a single USB connection. So if you're trying to make your life simple, you're running USB for video. You can use USB for audio and keyboard control, as Thomas is saying. Mm-hmm. And now instead of running a traditional serial cable for pan tilt zoom over RS-232, here at HuddleCamHD, we've actually developed a USB protocol. It's a Visca protocol over USB to give you full pan tilt zoom control plus camera presets. So more on that will be coming. I'll probably be in trouble for showing that early, but I wanted to share it. I thought it made a lot of sense today because we're eliminating cables. We're doing a lot over USB. And I know that, Thomas, you've probably got all kinds of stories about people using products and all kinds of different things over USB these days.
Oh, yeah. I've had, because I used to do tech support for Icron, and I remember the first call I ever got was actually from some guy in a submarine. And I just couldn't believe he was using one of our USB extenders to do just like a keyboard mouse thing, but it was just crazy. I never had a conceptual idea of someone using USB on a submarine. But I mean, our products are used pretty much everywhere. Today we're focusing on conferencing spaces because that's where we see kind of the major uptake these days with all the UCC applications, Skype support, things like that. But in general, you'll find us everywhere from submarines to Legoland. We're kind of,
Wow.
it's crazy.
Submarines to Legoland. I love it. Thanks for saying hi, Kenneth. We are live here, so we're taking your questions. Now, the Icron Spectra, quite a bit less expensive here. 15 meters, 45 feet. Tell me a little bit about this product. This is USB 3, so we're getting that large 5 gigabit pipeline.
Yes.
I'd love to talk to you a little bit about color space and bandwidth a little bit, because that's really why we have these USB 3 expanders for cameras, particularly. It all has to do with compression. So as you mentioned, USB 2.0 can support a compressed 1080p video signal, but you lose color space, essentially, is what you lose. And you lose, details, especially in, important imaging situations. So can we talk a little bit about compression and color space and why you'd want to use that 5 gigabit pipeline for uncompressed 1080p video?
For sure. I mean, there's lots of advantages. I mean, you touched on it. Really, it's the I guess the quality of the image, the frame rate, the latency. With the USB 2 camera, you're looking again 1080p 30, but then it's also fairly compressed because you have to get it down to 480 megabits per second. So you're going to lose color fidelity, frame rate. You're adding latency because you have to uncompress the thing back out when you're using your application. Things like that. And then, so going forward to USB 3 now, you've got 1080p 60 uncompressed, maybe a bit of chroma subsampling, which you really won't notice. But then you're looking at like zero latency because there's no decompression happening on your computer. And then overall, I find recently we actually did a little test, and it turns out USB 3 cameras typically take up less CPU consumption on your computer than a USB 2 camera. So it's another advantage there you might not think about.
So it's and that's really important, I think, when we're talking about different computers that have USB 3 ports. That's very common. But one of the issues a lot of people have is, using compressed video, taking up a lot of CPU usage, dropping frames, not looking as crisp as it could be. So this product really comes in handy when you're trying to use one of the HuddleCam USB 3 products. And there are obviously other USB 3 products as well, but that additional bandwidth when it comes to video specifically is where I would imagine generally you need all that extra pipeline.
Yeah, exactly. Or if you want to plug in even more devices downstream. So the camera will take up a lot of the bandwidth, obviously, but if you're running USB 2, there's not much room for anything else. Even to do just a bit of audio on the side is sometimes difficult. But USB 3, obviously, you've got 5 gigs, so it's no problem.
So now let's take a look at some of these applications. And Thomas, maybe you can walk us through this a little bit here, but we've got a mobile cart here, right?
Yeah, it's something like that. This is envisioned as more of like just a typical huddle space. The cart might be mobile, it might not be. But the idea is, so basically the intention here is we've got an installer who's gone to his client, and the client has said, you know what, I want a multi-touch display in my boardroom or huddle room. I want to use a full HD or 4K camera. I want to use an in-wall cabling. I definitely want to be able to bring my own device, that kind of thing. Wired LAN access, an option in case my wireless is being kind of, not being great that day, as we all know. And then I also just want to be able to plug in one cable and go. So we can do that. So leveraging the Raven 3104 in this case. On my left there, you'll see on the table, I've got my laptop, and under the table, I've got my local extender. To the laptop, I have a single USB 3 cable, as well as the network cable. It'll go in through the wall to the back of the space, and then to the remote extender, which is behind the panel in this case. The LAN, again, is going out to the server room in some other location. But then we're going to connect the USB 3 interface to a USB 3 docking station. And these devices are really cool. What they can do is, other than being just a USB hub, but they can also do like a USB to HDMI conversion. So we can actually transport video to the panel just over USB. So we don't need to do like an HDMI connection at the table as well. So that's where you get your single cable connectivity. And then you've got your USB 3 to your HuddleCam, obviously, a USB 2 connection to your like HuddlePod Air, for example, and then USB 2 touch to the panel as well. So one extender, all these features, single cable connectivity. And it's Icron, so it's going to be plug and play. It's going to work with Windows, Mac, OS X, and Linux. So bring in your laptop, it'll function.
Now, as we're looking at this, just wanted to ask about that LAN connectivity. What is it doing in this scenario?
In this scenario, the client, for example, prefers to have wired Ethernet connectivity. Some of these unified communication applications are pretty bandwidth intensive, and sometimes the wireless just doesn't cut it. So the option here is that you can plug in a LAN cable through the extender.
Oh, it's coming out this side. I see. Yeah. So the LAN that is going Ethernet that might have been run to the display this side of the wall for whatever reason is now being transported over the same cable and now available to people using laptops. Okay, I got it.
Exactly. Yeah. Because in this case, the laptop's running the whole room, right? So
this is this is seriously. I mean, just think about that here again one more time. So there's a touch screen. There's a PTZ camera up to 4K. There is in-wall cabling. We've got the BYOD solution with your laptop, potentially doing HDMI off of that, which is kind of mind-boggling. I forgot that you could do that. That probably requires a driver, though, doesn't it?
They can in some cases. I think some versions of like Chrome OS, for example, have it built in, but it kind of varies per OS. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Here's the one we have here that we're actually going to be opening up soon in a moment and taking a look at. We could do that now if you'd like. You want to take a peek at the actual product now that we've done an application diagram?
For sure. Yeah, it's a great time to do it.
All right, great. So let's open this baby up. Here we go. And I see it comes with a quick start guide. We kind of went through it a little bit there. Let's take a look at it and really give people an idea of the size of this. This is the exact one that someone's going to win today. So I did open it once. I apologize. I was tempted to use it in here because I really need it, but we're going to give it away to you guys. So here we go here. Kyle Gunderman saying he recommended the HuddleCam Go to a college extension that uses the school at night, and they love it. Oh, that's so great to hear. So here we are here on the front, seeing the status light, a link, a USB 2 and a USB 3, just letting us know kind of what's going on. Look at the quality of this. I mean, this is aluminum, right?
Yep.
Designed in Canada. So this is the receiving end. So all I'm seeing out of this, so we've got our USB 3 and our LAN link up and down.
Yeah, so this is the side that connects to your computer.
This side connects directly to your computer. Yep. On the other side, this is the side that connects to all of your devices.
Exactly, yeah.
So now we're seeing here. Yep.
Yeah, cameras, docking stations, adapters, whatever you need.
They all look like USB 3.
They are all USB 3 because they all auto-negotiate to whatever speed the device is. So if you plug in a mouse, it'll go to 1.1. If you plug in a HuddleCam, it'll go to 3.0.
I see. Wow. So you could do actually like 2 or 3 USB 3 devices.
Yep. Or 4.
Oh my gosh. Wow. So I just wanted to open that up, show people what we've been talking about today. Now you've got another application here that you wanted to talk about, which is the Boardroom. This one is a little bit more complicated, but
it's a little
maybe
more complicated. Yeah.
Depending on how you look at it.
Yeah, we'll simplify it. Yeah. So in this case, we have a boardroom. It's not a BYOD situation. In this case, there's a dedicated PC for the room, and that PC happens to need to exist in an AV closet or the server room, which is obviously separate from the boardroom. But we have the same requirements by the user, so they still want to use a multi-touch display, still want USB conference audio, high-definition camera, things like that. Again, they want clean cabling, so it's got to go through the wall. So active cables aren't necessarily going to cut it, especially over a distance. So again, leveraging the 3104. We can connect to our meeting server, which is there right below the network switch, connecting our LAN and USB 3 to the transmitter there, or the local extender. Through the in-wall cabling, again, out to the boardroom. Under the table in the boardroom is our remote receiver, or REX. Off the REX, we've got USB 2 going to a speakerphone, touch the panel, and then a keyboard and mouse for control. And then USB 3 to the camera, and LAN for control if necessary.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that we mentioned how that USB 3 to the camera could do video from the camera, but also pass through control. Now the network switch is over here. Is there a computer in the room essentially?
Yeah, in that case, so you see between the network switch and the USB extender, there's like a one rack kind of solution.
I
So it's
see.
meant to be the meeting server. So it's like running Skype or Zoom or whatever your organization
I
is
see.
using.
So it could be a Mac Mini running Zoom. It could
Exactly.
be
Could be
something
an
else.
Intel NEC. Yeah.
Intel NUC. Gotcha.
Could be
Okay,
anything.
so the difference here between we were looking at the Huddle room is we're really just adding a USB 2 speakerphone here. Well, there was a conference phone in that other space as well. It's really just a bigger room.
It's just a different layout, right? I think that's what we're trying to emphasize here is that it doesn't necessarily have to be limited to the same room. It could be the other side of the building. It could be a couple floors up. It could be, anywhere within 100 meters in this case.
Wow, 100 meters. Now this next application is a little bit different here. So we have, again, a USB camera.
Yep,
We
USB
are actually using a frame grabber here, which is something that I really like. This is what I'm more familiar with. Is now we've got our HDMI in using what's called a capture card or a frame grabber, which takes HDMI and converts it to USB 3. So you're giving us our HDMI input here, USB for the conference phone, and then you've also got a USB touchscreen. So that's all 4 of your USBs, Tom. Don't use any more. That's all you've got. And then you've got your Ethernet going to the computer at the display.
Exactly. And just to touch on that point there, Paul, we actually support 30 devices. So you can add hubs and we can support even more things. It's not just 4 ports.
30 devices?
Yeah.
Wow. Patrick Herring's got a question here. Are there any issues with transporting USB 3 flash drives 300 feet to a PC?
Absolutely not. It'll work perfectly.
Wow.
Through the Raven.
Because with USB, let's be honest, there have been so many issues out there. I don't know if it's because there are products that only work in certain scenarios and people are throwing too much at them, but I have had so many customers and issues with USB 3 where they bought something on Amazon, they didn't take our recommendation or whatever happened, and they're trying to do something like this where they've got a USB 3 camera, a USB hub, connecting a touchscreen, connecting a speakerphone, connecting a frame grabber. And this is one of those takeaways, I think, when you're looking at this, these USB devices will add up. You might be thinking right now you only need a USB camera, but you sure that they're not going to ask you for a USB touchscreen, which are really affordable. Mimo Touch, I think, has them.
Yeah,
Are they going to need a speakerphone? This is the cloud-based, computer-based world that we live in, the web-based conferencing world, where everything's got to interface via USB. And I think a lot of times IT managers are forgetting that, all right, we need to prepare for 2 or 3 extra devices down the road, not just run one single USB extension that can only handle X.
Exactly. And then maybe you want to consider maybe 2 auto is good enough for now for your conference space, but 5 years down the road, is that really going to be enough? And do you want to go back and rewire the entire room? So maybe now is a good time to consider 3 auto as well. Get that extra bandwidth, plug in even more devices, different scenarios, new options for your clients, right? So lots of reasons to consider USB 3.
I really like it, and I also love the fact that most people have Cat 5 already run a lot of times. So it is actually using a cable that's probably already there. It's just maximizing what we can get out of it. Now, it does have to be Cat 6 or Cat 7 with the Raven. I'm noticing with the Ranger 2312, we're getting down to Cat 5e, and that is something that's a lot more common.
Exactly. So this is a USB 2 solution that we've got. We've had it out in the kind of region for a long time now, a couple of years. But we're finding more and more people are trying to connect cameras and speakerphones for them, just because, especially this model with the flexible power, you don't necessarily need to power both ends. You can choose where to plug in the power at the local remote side. And then it's got a really small form factor as well, so it's easy to hide under the table or just in the wall or something. And it's also pretty budgetary considering.
Now I'm
compared to the
also
Raven.
seeing here, you say 2 ports providing 1 amp each. Can we roll back to the Raven? Does the Raven provide power as well through those USB ports?
It does. So it has 4 ports and it does 1.2 amps per port or 6
Gotcha.
watts.
Now, what kind of devices can you power? Because I know some devices that I've worked with need like 5 watts. Tell me about these. What can you power with what type of devices? Obviously, that'll work with a USB stick, but will it power a wireless transmitter that's powered over USB, for example? Could it charge your phone?
Yeah, I mean, it'll do all those things. Typically, when you're looking at power consumption, the standard for USB 2 is only 500 milliamps, so 2.5 watts, and then USB 3 is 900 milliamps, so 4.5 watts. Here at Icron, we've had enough experience to know that, I mean, the spec isn't really enough, so we usually do a bit of overpower. So we provide extra power. It's really for those, like, a lot of touchscreens require more power. A lot of like flash drives, SSDs, hard drives, things like that actually require kind of just to spin up, right, a lot of power. And then cameras as well, we find, especially when they turn on for the first time, they can be pretty power hungry.
Yes. Yeah, no, you're right. And that's why I just wanted to ask that question. So this is a great little extender here. Now this has, I'm not seeing anything about bandwidth here. Is this a USB 3 product or a 2 product? 2.
This is a USB 2 product, so
Okay.
480 megabits per second.
Gotcha. Okay. All right, great. Well, I'm glad we talked about that one. And does that wrap it up for us, Tom? No, we've got one more here. What is this?
Yeah. So this is some of the advanced features we do sell. We don't sell these under the Icron brand. Icron itself sells in a variety of ways, including to OEMs. So if you see a black box like this, you might be surprised or not surprised to find out it's us. But in this case, there's 2 features here I want to kind of talk about, and there's 2 quick application diagrams. But basically, switchable USB and simultaneous users. So switchable USB in this case, let's consider a BYOD conference room where you want to be able to bring your laptop and plug it in, but you also want to have like a dedicated in-room PC at the bottom there, and like an AV closet. And you want to be able to switch back and forth between both, right? So what we can offer is a product called the 2304 GE LAN, and connecting to like a basic NIC gear switch and leveraging some control software that we offer, you can actually switch between the 2 USB hosts pretty flawlessly and connect your USB devices. They'll pop up automatically. Obviously support all devices, so your USB video, your touch, and your audio will just kind of come back right away.
So this device here has got a camera on it, it's got a speakerphone on it, and it's got a touchscreen on it. Now these 2 devices, a laptop and a computer, can now switch between them. How do you negotiate? So basically you're saying, oh, I want the camera and microphone here. Now I want the camera and microphone here. How do you make that switch?
So we provide an API and some software to clients to kind of build an application. So what you could do in theory is, because, for example, you could rig it so that as soon as the USB host on Lex 1 on the top there sees a laptop, it could automatically switch to the laptop. And if it disengages, it can go right back to the one in the AV closet. So we're pretty flexible in how we use it. We provide APIs, and we work with customers to build a solution for them.
Cool. Yeah, I really like that, the ability to do that. Let me see the next slide here. We have easy connectivity, bring your own laptop and connect to the webcam, interactive touchscreen, and microphone all around. So now what we're saying here is we've got, what do we got here?
So this is like a lecture hall. So you've got let's say you've got a podium, obviously, and the professor comes in and he puts his laptop down and he connects to the Lex in the top left corner there. And there's a network in the room. And what we've got here is the ability to connect to multiple remote units simultaneously throughout the room. So your camera's in one location in the room, and it's quite a bit of ways, so you have to run an extender to that. You've got your USB touchscreen, which is another part of the room, which again, you can do another USB extender to that. And then you've got an audio solution somewhere in the room as well, which may or may not be in a different location. So by leveraging like a little local area network in the room, you can connect to multiple remote devices. In this case, we're showing 3, but we support up to 7, back to one single transmitter.
Wow,
yeah.
that
So
I did
really
not
flexible.
know. that you had. Now, Ariel's asking really quickly, because this is interesting to me. This is very interesting, and we are going to get to our giveaway very shortly, guys. I think this is the last slide. But I just wanted to ask, so you said there's an API for switching in between?
Yes.
Because right now what we're showing is different devices connecting back to a single receiver. On the last slide, we showed a single device connecting and then two computers. Sorry for the scribbling there. On the two computers slide, because this one makes sense to me. On the two computer slide, what is the API like? Do you have an app or something that people can use to click a button, or?
So what we provide basically is the raw API, and we work with bigger customers again to develop software. We have a little Java program as well that can go with it that's meant for demonstration purposes. But the intention is to work with clients directly and build a solution for them. So if you want to get more information, you can contact me or technical support at icron.com.
Gotcha. So this is more of a custom application system.
Exactly.
But it really is a game changer, I think, now that when you wrap your head around what people are doing today and the type of technology that they need. Well, this is great. Let's answer Sean's question really quickly, and then we'll get over to our giveaway. Is there a one-camera HuddleCam kit, kind of like the PTZ Optics Producer Kit? Yes, there is. There are single-camera video conferencing systems that could really be enhanced with these Icron products and really allow them to reach far away from different solutions. So check those out on HuddleCamHD.com under Complete Kits. There is a small and a kind of small medium and a medium large kit there for conference rooms and boardrooms. All right, guys, you held out long enough. John Thomas is saying, what is the preferred development language for your API while we hang out? And then Patrick's also asking about that as well.
I believe we use C.
Okay, so it's written in C. And then Patrick Herring is also asking a question about Crestron or Extron and control over IP.
I can't say anything about Extron necessarily, but you'll find that Crestron's solution looks very similar to ours. And so
that's very
wink,
funny.
wink.
Wink, wink. And you know what, Patrick and John, hang out and subscribe to this channel because we are very, very close to releasing a product that I'm not going to say what it is, but it is a control system style application. I think I'll probably get in trouble just for saying that. Coming out in just a few weeks, that will be most likely, because Thomas, it will receive hex commands, right?
You know what? That's a better question for a tech support group.
All right. Well, I do want to talk to you about that. I shouldn't even get into it. Tech Basket is saying nice. This is really, really advanced stuff. If you caught everything that Thomas just laid down, congratulations, you're a certified geek. And now we're going to pick a winner, see who won the Icron Raven. Remember, you do got to be here to claim this prize. So if you're not here, Nick Pulowski, we're going to have to go on to the next person here. But Nick Pulowski, are you here? Wow. Nick Pulowski, we're going to see if you're here. If you are, you have just won an Icron Raven. If you're not, we're going to pull another winner. Hold on, guys. Hang out, ask questions. Let's see if we can stump Tom on a question. I think I stumped you already, Tom, on the hex question.
Yeah, you got me there. I'm not a coder. I'm more of a
Points for
hardware guy,
Paul. So. Oh yeah, oh yeah. I stumped Tom. Team Nick. Oh, Nick Pendergrass is here, but is Nick Pulowski here? Nick Pulowski, we're just going to give you a couple seconds. In fact, I am going to check Facebook, but I don't think he's here because he's not here. All right, we're going to go pull our next winner. Here we go. I want to keep this moving for you guys because I know some of you are hanging out hoping to win a really amazing USB extender here. Oh my gosh, Nick Pendergrass. Team Nick does take it home.
Nice.
Nick Pendergrass, congratulations, Nick. You have won a USB extender, the Icron Raven. Congratulations. Thanks for watching. That's our show, folks. We had a really great time with Thomas. Thomas, thank you for coming by. I appreciate it.
Thanks again, Paul.
What a
Anytime.
fun show. Congratulations, Nick, and everybody else who watched the show. We appreciate it. Stick around. A lot of fun stuff coming out from HuddleCamHD, so make sure you subscribe. new products. New product was just released yesterday. If you watched our YouTube channel, I'm not even allowed to say it. Too much new stuff coming soon. Don't want to leave it all. I gotta zip. A lot of new stuff coming. I think you guys are gonna love it. Plus some fun stuff. So thanks a lot, everybody. Take care. We'll see you on our next live show.